What's up everyone, my name is Zenitsu, and we are back with another Digimon video. So today we are going to be taking a look at basically part 2 of the footage from Bandai Card Fest. Today is going to be the day 2 footage of the grand finals for the Digimon TCG. This is the finals for the first wave of the competitive season, as we are going to be heading into the second wave of the competitive season now. So if you are already enjoying this type of content and want to see more, you already know what to do with the whole YouTube and social media doobly-doo thing. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. On top of, you want to ring that notification bell so you could stay up to date when I upload or go live next. So without further ado, let's actually get into the gameplay and commentate over it. So I already know the overall outcome because the information was previously revealed, and Gallantmon, shocker, is going to end up winning this match, but the important thing is how they're going to be winning it. So let's actually get into the nitty-gritty to see what actually transpires. So Gallantmon is going to do the classic turn 1 play of Rookie in Raising and set up a Cool Boy. So usually you want to set up either options or tamers that are helping you dig and search for your parts and pieces, gain you resource and value later, so that way you could explode all over the opponent when you are ready to move out. So it looks like the Leviamon player is going to be doing the exact same thing, Rookie in Raising followed by Double Training. So that's already going to be pretty good, and now it's just up to the Leviamon player to try to punish and capitalize on the opponent essentially playing cards. So it's whether they have their cards to be able to do that is the ultimate question. So the Gallantmon player is going to choose to try to set up a secondary body, so that way they could potentially do a whole bunch of different options with that body, and that body is still a consistency tool because he discards a card and draws 2 cards. So now going back over to the Leviamon player, they are just going to be setting up a memory boost. So they are going to be finding the Leviamon X, which is a very powerful pickup here. And it kicks back over to the Gallantmon's turn. So now with that Cool Boy setup, they have a lot of opportunity to do a whole bunch of digging. So they are going to set up a second Cool Boy, which means if they Digivolve this Gallantmon into a Gallantmon X antibody, like they're doing here, they get to gain 2 memory back, and they get to essentially draw 4 cards out of their deck. 2 for the Cool Boy, 1 for the Evolution, and a search off of the Gallantmon X. So this is a prime example why Cool Boy is just such a strong card, because it was a card that the community wanted to get banned and limited, and it's a very strong card in the right decks. And this definitely seems like one of those decks where Cool Boy is an incredibly powerful card. So now he gets to establish essentially a second body. So he's going to go into a Gallantmon, then he's going to go from Gall X into a Growlmon, and then from Growlmon into Growl X. Now, the Growl X does have the ability to replace himself, so that's a pretty strong position, because he's obviously going to attack. If the Growlmon X dies, he would be able to gain a memory. But it doesn't, so he then gets to continue to develop this body to try to put as much pressure on the opponent to respond as possible, while also having a Digimon in his raising to then respond to the opponent's response. So this is the magical game of chicken that the Digimon TCG has developed from, like, what, BT6? And it's just on full display here, whether this is actually going to work out or not. So the Leviamon player needs to establish some sort of control, especially knowing that the opponent can just vomit a whole stack out of their raising area, because they are also developing a memory boost. So now that the memory boost is set up, the Gallantmon in Raising can basically go all the way up into a Mega level Digimon if there's a Digimon to interact with, which is exactly what he's forcing the opponents to do right now. Is Leviamon has to do something, otherwise the pressure from the the Growlmon X antibody is going to end up snowballing into Gallantmon's favor. So right now, Leviamon is kind of put into a big no-win situation, and it's just, do I have the setup to be able to out what my opponent is going to be presenting? So he's going to go up into the Dobermon, followed by the Dober X, and now he's popping another training to set up a Cerberus. So ideally, he probably needs to find a way to deal with the residual body that's going to be coming out of the Growlmon X antibody, because when that gets deleted, then a Guilmon gets to be spat out. So he is going to elect to use a training card to search out for Anubis, probably, because he could swing with the Cerberus, and then he could Digivolve into Anubis, set up a secondary body, which actually might not be a good thing, thinking about it now, because Gallantmon loves deleting bodies and gaining memory for doing so. So having a small body that they're able to delete easily probably isn't super beneficial, but I don't know really what else you do to be able to get rid of that second body, because if the Gallantmon has a second Gil X, then he's just going to use that to just Digivolve and gain a whole bunch of free memory. So it looks like Cerberus is going to swing over the Growl X. He gets to gain a memory for the on-delete of the Guilmon inheritable, and then play out a Guilmon, and then the Guilmon's even more consistency, because now he gets to discard a card and draw 2. So now what is the Leviamon player going to end up doing? So they get to go into a Anubismon, and they're going to delete the Guilmon by playing out a Digimon and discarding. So how much is he going to discard is the real question. Because the more you discard, the bigger the body that you could play. So he could discard a whole bunch of cards and play a bigger body to make it harder to delete. So he is just going to end up discarding a 7th Lightning and playing out the Psychmon. This might not necessarily be the best play because, again, Gallantmon loves deleting Digimon, and the smaller body you could delete, the easier it is going to be for Gallantmon to gain memory and be able to make even more powerful plays possible. So he did have a second Guilmon X, so he gets to gain 2 memory and essentially, again, draw 4 cards, which is really good on consistency. So I'm hard-pressed to think that Gallantmon doesn't have literally everything in his hand to be able to win the game this turn. And if he's unable to win this game this turn, then he gets to blow out the opponent, and the opponent has 0 responses in this position to even think about fighting back. So this is going to be the deciding turn on whether or not Gallantmon takes game 1 or not. So he does get to go into the Growlmon, delete the rookie, gain the memory, set up a second Cool Boy, so that way if he Digivolves again, then the Cool Boy kind of pays for itself. So he did find the Growl X to be able to Digivolve into Growl X. So Growl X gets to draw and discard, draw for Evolution, and then draw for Cool Boy. So again, that's still seeing 3 cards just off of those combination of pairs. So, yeah, he gets to gain the memory too, so now he's back at 3 memory. He's going to use the Scramble to basically act like a Hammer Spark and save a net 1 memory, Digivolving into the level 5. The level 5 will now be able to Digivolve into the level 6 if he wants. So he could Digivolve into a Gallant and try to out his Digimon, but instead he's Digivolving into Wargrowl X. So Wargrowl X, usually on top of Wargrowl, can delete 1,000k or like 10,000 DP. But because of the range increase from the inheritable to level 4, he actually gets to delete above the weight class and delete up to a level 6 Digimon with 12,000 DP. So that's going to be pretty huge, because now he could pop the memory boost, gain some memory, maintain turn, and he could think about aggressing even harder now. So the Wargrowl X is also increased in its DP. So he gets to swing pretty safely at 11k, and he then gets to gain the 2 memory for the inheritable of the Wargrowl, and that's enough memory to be able to use Protoform to be able to unsuspend burn, swing for 2 checks, and then Omni for game, because, Omni for game is still a huge thing. So there's the 2 checks, and yep, there's the Omni for game. So that is game 1 wrapped up with a not really reverse sweep. It was a pretty telegraphed victory based on the play patterns that Leviamon was forced into, because they had to deal with that body, but because they didn't win the game that turn, it gave Gallantmon the opportunity to be able to reverse sweep and win the game in of itself. So even if he was unable to win the game that specific turn with the combination of cards, I don't necessarily think there was any play line that would have let Leviamon even think about coming back into the game. So even without the Omnimon for game factor, the game was basically over the second he went up into Anubismon and played out a body that was able to be deleted. I don't know if the Psychmon actually mattered or not, if it was a Psychmon, or if it would have been a stronger Digimon, like something with 5,000 DP. Maybe that would have been harder, and it wouldn't necessarily have costed any difference in memory because of how Anubismon's ability works. Maybe it would have, so maybe it didn't matter in the end, but I definitely think that the fact that Gallantmon won the game of chicken there and was able to basically deal with the opponent's Digimon was the deciding factor. So now it is Gallantmon going first again, and it looks like he is going to be doing probably the same exact setup, just Rookie and Raising, followed by Uninteractable, Option, or Tamer, to give the opponent nothing to deal with and try to choke them on as much memory as they possibly can leave them off at. So it looks like it was a Cool Boy instead of like a memory boost or something. So now we get to have Gobblimon be the card in Raising, and ideally an option to dig is probably the best thing. Maybe, he's going to go into the Gabu X to dig out 2 cards. So he found the Protoform and the Cerberus, which is pretty good. And he discards the Leviathan X, so this is a pretty decent spot. Giving a body for the opponent to interact with isn't necessarily super ideal. So, that's pretty brutal, because the X means that he's able to gain a memory with the Cool Boy, and he still digs 3 cards out of his deck for really powerful consistency. So it's just that the conversion factor is the big thing. So now he gets to potentially Digivolve into a level 4 that we see in hand, deletes the Gabumon, gain 1 memory, so it only costed 1 memory. Then go into try to find an X off of the Digivolve. Doesn't look like it, but he's still in a pretty commanding position, because without any options set up, there's only so much that Leviamon can do in response to this amount of pressure. Because without the options, I don't know if they actually can go into a level 6 Digimon for like 2 memory. They might be able to, but then they would be passing over a decent chunk of memory. But maybe that wouldn't necessarily be the worst thing in the world, because like, if the opponent's unable to actually respond to your level 6, it doesn't matter how much memory you gave them, because they just won't be able to deal with your body. Because there's nothing in Raising currently. So it looks like Gallantmon is going to go into Protoform to Digivolve into the Wargrowl X. So the Wargrowl X has some protection, not any that matters for this matchup. But it looks like he is trying to force a response out of Leviamon, and Leviamon needs to delete the level 5 Digimon this turn. Otherwise, he simply loses the game. Like, that is the reality of this situation. I'm trying to grasp the words here on how bad of a situation this actually is. So he uses Protoform. A little bit of a spill and tumble there. So yeah, the judge is probably telling him, hey, don't touch those, just let it happen. But yeah, so went up into Cerberus. Cerberus will be able to discard a card, revive a body, maintain memory, and then he just needs to Digivolve into a level 6 Digimon out the level 5, and he's good. So he's going to be digging. He does not find a level 6 off of the Gabu. So yeah, what do you do in this type of a situation? He unfortunately discarded the Levia X, which might have been the deciding factor, is he needed that Levia X at least to delete the opponent's Digimon. I don't even know if it can delete the Digimon, because I know Leviamon does like some weird things with evens and odds or whatnot. So he does end up finding the Leviamon off of digging for it, but this is little too late because now Gallantmon can basically just take full advantage of the situation, wipe the field, and then leave Leviamon with basically nothing as he just watches as he's going to lose the game. So that was probably the big deciding turn, is maybe he pushed out too early and wasn't able to respond properly to the threat that the opponent was trying to present. So now the Growl X can Digivolve into a Gallant, delete the rookie, and be able to gain the memory back. Oh, right, the extended DP range because of the level 4. It could actually hit above the weight class and deletes the level 5 Digimon. So he gets to gain a memory for the deletion, keep turn, swing, use the when attacking to delete the rookie now. He doesn't gain the DP boost, so it is still just a wee little lad, but it's still going to be hitting for 2 checks. We know the first one was safe. The second one is also now safe. So now he just Digivolves into Gallant X. For 1, uses Cool Boy to maintain turn, unsuspends, burns a security, does 2 checks. That's pretty powerful, especially since the Leviamon player has nothing in raising, only a training to his name, so there's nothing on field that's actually going to be threatening or contesting this Gallantmon, so we're just seeing a complete and utter blowout situation here. So if the Leviamon player was able to delete the level 5 Digimon, then probably the reverse would have been happening, where the Gallantmon promoted too early and was getting punished, but now he's not getting punished, and now he's being rewarded for pushing out. And yeah, there's literally nothing that Leviamon can do here. 1 security, a hope and a dream, 2 memory, with the Digimon and raising, so that's already lethal on field. So he doesn't even have to commit to any, like, Gallantmon doesn't have to commit to anything in order to kill from here, because he just swings with the rookie, swings with the Gallant X, and that's the game. Or swings with Gallant X, swings with rookie, whatever way you want to swing it. It doesn't matter unless that last option is going to be some sort of removal. So, Digivolving into Gobbly and then digging and hard playing a Cerberspawn to play out 2 bodies. I don't see it. I think maybe he's trying to bait the Levia X into doing something, and he gave a lot of memory, so Gallantmon currently technically isn't protected. But the fact that he gave that much memory, and with how consistent Gallantmon has been with the usage of the Cool Boys and the Guilmon X's, like, I don't see a situation where he doesn't just build a new stack, blow up both bodies, and then just swings for game. Like, that's a very real and distinct possibility that we're seeing here, is just a brand new level 6 Digimon, and then the game is still kind of just over. It didn't matter which way you swung it. So he's going to be Digivolving into the level 4. That's the on-delete gain of memory. Like deleting an opponent's Digimon, gain of memory. Digivolving into the Growl X, which is more delete the opponent's Digimon, gain of memory. So he has 1 from the Guilmon X, 1 from the Guil, Growl, and Growl X from the brand new stack. So now he gets to delete a Digimon and gain, 4 memory? So yeah, that's a lot of memory to just gain for just deleting the opponent's Digimon. And remember, he started this turn already on the back foot, and I think maybe he was doing it so Gallant didn't just get a free unsuspend and just auto-win the game. But again, this is where, like, you just Digivolve into a new level 6, delete his Digimon, and then the same thing happens. Now it's just even easier for Gallantmon to just win the game here. So unless that option is a 7th Lightning, the game is fundamentally over. So it is a Leviamon, and he swings for the game. So we'll get the handshake in. And yeah, Gallantmon very handedly wins that game off of essentially just two blowout situations where he put Leviamon in some bad situations, and then because Leviamon literally had nothing set up to try to respond to what Gallantmon was threatening, he just ended up folding, like, very handily, very easily. This is why in competitive Digimon, you need to have your big boss monsters do quite a lot. So whether that's between deleting the opponent's Digimon, that should kind of just be a default. If they're not deleting the opponent's Digimon, ideally you want a floodgate to stop the opponent from getting up into their big Digimon, or you want to have some protection, because if you go up into yours and the opponent's unable to answer or respond to yours, then you still are able to kind of just play the game from there. Or you just want to try to win the game before the opponent actually can respond. That's an option as well, and that's why, like, certain alternative playstyles outside of stack-based decks have seen some successes, because they could create board states out of nowhere. So that's kind of what Machinedramon's able to do. That's what Adventures is able to do. Kind of what Omnimon's able to do is just be able to create these board states out of nowhere and then blow out the opponent. And that's kind of the unfortunate reality, is you're really just looking and fishing for blowout situation, at least at the highest competitive level. So you're not going to have a lot of back and forth because of how fast and efficient a lot of these decks are able to move, and how quickly they could find and piece all of their combos together is just leading to these, like, one-sided blowout situations. So it is unfortunate that I think it was just overall a bad matchup for Leviamon, but Leviamon also was baited into bad situations due to some mildly greedy plays on the Gallantmon side. But I mean, hey, if it worked out because of the fact that the opponent wasn't exactly set up and you just did your thing before they did, that's just the nature of card games in a nutshell. So congrats to both players for being able to go to the world stage for finals wave 1. So with that, I'm going to be signing off here. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed this content and want to see more, and I'll see you hopefully in the next video. Later.